Story time is brought to you by
न्यूयॉर्क में पाकिस्तानी अमेरिकन की रहनुमाई। पाकिस्तान अमेरिकन एसोसिएशन ऑफ न्यूयॉर्क का खासा है। अमेरिकन पाकिस्तानियों के बाइज्जत और बावकार मकाम के लिए कोशां। पैनी का हर कदम आपके हम कदम।
Dear children, welcome back to another great session of story time. And as always, we start our session with the universal greeting of Islam, Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be unto you. And before we start our story time session, our today's session with a great story from Quran, let's see who's here with us today.
Hey, it's Larry.
Larry.
Hi, it's Harry from grade 7.
Okay, Harim.
Hello, here you have Isha.
Isha.
Hey, it is Moaz.
And Moaz. Okay, so yesterday we were listening to the story of
Hazrat Daud.
Hazrat Daud and how he killed, what was that?
Jalut.
Jalut. And then Hazrat Daud became a prophet as well as a king, right? And finally, the people of Bani Israel were living in a city, in a green area, happily. Finally, they were out of the desert. Right, great, wonderful. Now, Hazrat Daud had 13 sons.
13.
Sons, but only one of them was going to be the next prophet and king. And you know what was his name?
Hazrat Sulaiman.
Hazrat Sulaiman. Wonderful. So out of 13 sons, Hazrat Daud was told by Allah that out of your 13 sons, Hazrat Sulaiman will be the next king and prophet. So Hazrat Daud started to teach things, how to run government and how to take care of people, to Hazrat Sulaiman. And from very young age, Hazrat Sulaiman was very smart. He knew how to take care of other people and how
Wasn't
to...
his other brothers jealous of him?
No, they all knew that Allah has chosen our brother Sulaiman as the next prophet and king because they belonged to a good family, right? They were sons of a great prophet, Hazrat Daud. So they were nice. They knew that they have to obey Allah. If Allah has chosen one of their brothers as the next prophet, then they must accept it.
He was a king.
He was a king as well as he was a prophet. He was both. So when he was young, his father started to take him to the court, to the king's court where he sat and made decisions.
Where was the court?
It was in that city, in the area of Palestine, the Palestine. So he was there with his father every day, listening to things, learning how to rule a country, how to take care of the people. Now, as Hazrat Sulaiman started to grow, he became more intelligent and smart. And when finally Hazrat Daud died, Allah told Sulaiman to become the king, and he was given the guidance, and Hazrat Sulaiman became the next king and prophet. Now, there was something special about the way Hazrat Sulaiman ruled the country. It was that Allah gave every living thing under his command. The jinns, the birds, the animals, the elephants, the giraffes, they were all under his control. Even the wind that blew, the wind was under his control. You know why Allah gave him so much power? Because Allah wanted him to make sure that all the land belonged to Muslims and all the people are living happily and peacefully. So when Allah gave him so much responsibility, then Allah gave him so much power as well. So when you have power, then you have responsibility.
He was a special.
Yes, he was special because he had so much power that even the birds and animals and snakes and tigers and even the wind were under his control. That's why he was so special. And you know why he was special? Because he had so much responsibility. So when you are special, when you have power, then you have responsibility. And then when you take responsibility, you say that I'm going to take care of other people, then Allah gives you lots of power. The power always comes with responsibility. Now Hazrat Suleiman was taking care of all the animals and all the people that lived in that area. And every day he sat in his court and he made decisions and took care of complaints that people brought to him. And one day, while he was sitting in his court, he noticed that woodpecker, Hudhud, is not there. You know what's a woodpecker? It has this long beak.
And it makes a hole in the wood.
Yes, it lives in a tree, right? Tuck, 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 tuck. And it has this pretty yellow crown on its head. Have you seen it in pictures or somewhere?
Yes.
Right. So Hazrat Suleiman, he was sitting there and looking around that reptiles are there and insects are there and big cats like lions and tigers are there and these herbivores are there like deers and all that. But the bird that represented all the birds, Hudhud, it's not there. Where did Hudhud go?
He also had does he have the ability to talk to?
Yes, that's another good thing that you reminded us. That Hazrat Suleiman could understand the talk of all the animals. So whenever Hudhud said or an eagle said something or parrot said something, he knew what they're saying.
So all these animals were in his palace?
Yes, they were represented by one of them. So one tiger came to represent all the tigers and birds, one eagle came to represent all the eagles. So they were all sitting there among all the humans representing their own species. What?
So he knew the conversation they were having.
Yes,
between them.
yes. No one else could understand. So whenever a bird said, "Tah, tah, tah, tah," he knew what it meant and not anybody else. And when a goat talked to him and said, "Ma, ma, ma," he knew what she's saying, but no one else. And that was a special power because it was his job to take care of all the animals as well. And at that time he looked around and he said, "Where is the woodpecker? Hudhud. Why this Hudhud is not here? And if it comes and it doesn't have a reason for being late, then I'm going to cut its wings." Because
it was a special meeting or something?
yes, it was king's court. Every day he called all the animals and birds and insects and human beings to his court to get a report, to make sure that everything is going fine. Right at that time, Hudhud came in and sat in his own place. They all had their own places to sit. And Hazrat Suleiman said, "Where was you? Why you're late? Don't you know the discipline of the court? That you have to be here on time?" And Hudhud said, "Sir, I was traveling and I have brought a very important news for you." And he said, "Okay, so you was late because you were doing some important work for me." And Hudhud said, "Yes, I was doing an important work for you. I have a news for you. He said, yes, go ahead. Tell me what is the news. And Hudhud said, sir, some distance from here, there is this beautiful country called the country of Saba. And they have orchards, they grow lots of fruits, and they grow lots of crops. And they are very rich because their land is very fertile. And Hazrat Salman said, okay, that's good. So what is the problem? And Hudhud said, but there is a sad news.
They are non-believers.
They are non-believers. And he said they worship something very strange. You know what did they worship?
Fire.
Sun. That they worship sun. And they don't worship Allah who has created sun.
But sun disappeared at night.
Yes, and still they thought that sun is the God.
They thought that sun gives the whole world light, so that's why
Exactly. They thought that their crops and vegetables, they all grow with the help of sunlight. So sun is their God. So Hazrat Salman was very upset. He said, how can a country so rich and so knowledgeable can be so misguided? That's very bad. Now, as the Prophet of Allah, it's my responsibility to guide them, to tell them to come on the right path.
Did they worship moon?
No, just the sun. So Hazrat Salman wrote a letter. He said, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most beneficent. I, Salman, King and the Prophet of Allah, tell you to obey Allah and stop worshipping sun or anything else. And if you will not accept my request, then I will come and attack you. And he rolled it and put it in the beak of Hudhud. And he said, take it to the Queen of Saba. And her name was Bilqis, Queen Bilqis.
Was a non-believer.
They were non-believers. They didn't believe in Allah. So Hudhud flew and it went on flying for many hours, holding that letter in its beak. And finally it reached this beautiful palace of Queen Bilqis, the Queen of Saba. And it entered from the window, went inside. And at that time, Queen Bilqis was sitting with the people, the generals, the army leaders of that area. And she said that I am here to listen to all the issues and problems of our land. Yes, tell me what is happening in our land at this moment. And while she was listening to all the issues and all the things of the journals, Hudhud flew and came close to the throne, to the seat of Queen Bilqis. And she had this beautiful throne, a beautiful seat on which she was sitting, and it was all full of gems and made of gold. And Hudhud reached right on the top of Queen Bilqis, and everyone looked at this bird coming on their top, and they said, what this bird is doing here in this court? How did this bird come in? And whilst they were thinking, the bird dropped that letter right in front of the queen and flew away. And Queen Bilqis knew that this letter must be something special. And she opened this letter and she started reading it. And everyone was surprised looking at her because they had never seen a woodpecker bring in a letter like this. And she read the letter.
It was a miracle for them.
Yes, of course, it was a miracle. It was something strange for them. And she read the letter and she said, "This letter has been sent to me by a king named Suleiman, and he is saying that Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, and he says that he is king and the prophet of Allah, and that we must obey Allah, otherwise he will attack us." So he put the letter down and she looked at her journals and she said, "What do you want me to do? What do you think I should do?" So she was a good queen in a way that she always asked for suggestions from her people.
Before getting her own suggestions.
Right, before making a decision. So her journals looked at her and said, "Oh, our great queen, we are ready to fight if you want us to. And if you want peace, then we will accept that." So Queen thought for a few minutes and she said, "Before we fight with them, let me send him lots of gold and gems. And if he accepts that gold and gem, then it would mean that he is not a prophet. He is a greedy king. And if he doesn't accept all this gold and gems, then it would mean that he is a
Prophet.
prophet, right?"
Hazrat Suleiman would have accepted them because he would have thought that someone had sent them to him.
Right, but this was not a gift, it was a bribe. The queen wanted to bribe him, so he let her worship sun.
It was a test for him.
Yes, it was a test for him. And Hazrat Suleiman knew that she is testing him. So when all these gems and gold reached to his court, and the messengers came with this gold and they said, "Our queen has said that we don't want to fight you. We want peace with you. So please accept all this gold and all these gems." And Hazrat Suleiman looked at the messengers angrily and he said, "I didn't ask for gold and gems. Allah has given me everything. I have asked her to start believing in Allah, to become a Muslim. I don't need all this. Take them back." And messengers were afraid and they put everything back, loaded everything on their horses and camels and went back. They reached the court of Malka Bilqis, Queen Bilqis, and they said, "Oh, our great queen, here are your gifts. They've been sent back. Suleiman said that he is a king and he cannot take a bribe. These are not gifts. This is a bribe." And Queen of Saba, Bilqis, she said, "It means that he is a prophet." And while she was having this conversation, there in his court, Hazrat Suleiman said to his jinns and powerful soldiers, he said, "Who can bring me the Queen of Saba and her beautiful throne here in front of me?" And one of the jinns, he got up, He said, I will bring it before you get up from your chair, my lord. And Hazrat Suleiman was thinking about it, and another one said, but this one was a human being who had loss of knowledge. Allah has given him loss of knowledge. He said, I will bring it before you even blink. And Hazrat Suleiman looked at him and he blinked, and Queen Saba was standing there, and right behind her at a distance was her throne. And Queen Saba looked everywhere and she knew what has happened. She said, you must be Suleiman who has brought me here. And he said, yes, have a seat. And she sat down, and he said to his people, change the shape of her throne little bit. I want to test her. And they changed the shape. Moved some gems on the top, some on the bottom, some here, some there. And he said to her, why don't you follow me? And he brought her near the throne and said, is this your throne? And it was a huge throne. And Queen Balkis couldn't believe that her throne can come to the palace so quickly in just a second. She said, yes, it looks like mine, but some of the arrangements are not the same. And Suleiman said, it is yours. I have brought it in a second, and I changed some of the diamonds on it. And now she knew that this man is powerful. This man is special. He is not ordinary king, but he is a prophet. And he said, now you follow me again. And he took her with him, and they reached this pond of water in which fish were swimming. And he said, why don't you follow me? And she said, oh, he wants me to step into water. Strange. And she raised her pajamas a little bit. And he said, gown maybe. She must be wearing a gown. She was a queen, right? Queens wear gowns. So she raised her gown a little bit. And he said, don't worry. This pond is way down there. On the top is a glass. You will step on a glass. You will not step in water. And she stepped, and it was a glass. And she was amazed. He said, oh my God.
Glass made of wood.
No, water was under it. And the top
Like
was
an
glass. Huh?
Like an
An aquarium. It was an aquarium. And the glass was so clean.
Did
that
it broke?
No, it didn't break. It was so strong and so clean that she didn't even see it. And she stood there. She said, wait. I bear witness that there is only one God, and He is Allah, and you, Salman, is His messenger. And he said, this is the whole thing for which I have brought you here. Now I will send you back, and I'll send your throne back, and you go and tell everyone in your country about Islam and become Muslim. So Queen went back with her throne, and she told her people about everything that happened in the palace. And she said, I have become a Muslim. I request you all to become a Muslim. And everyone in that land became Muslim, and they are Muslim till this day.
There's also Bilqis.
The queen of the land of Saba is in Yemen, and Yemen is a Muslim country now. Wasn't this an interesting story?
Yes.
Okay, so children, tomorrow you will find us here again in story time with another great story from Quran. Till then, Assalamu alaikum.
Story time was brought to you by
न्यूयॉर्क में पाकिस्तानी अमेरिकन की रहनुमाई। पाकिस्तान अमेरिकन एसोसिएशन ऑफ न्यूयॉर्क का खासा है। अमेरिकन पाकिस्तानियों के बाइज्जत और बावकार मकाम के लिए कोशां, पैनी का हर कदम आपके हम कदम।